Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolberger. Welcome to this week's KFIR Middle East Update, where we attempt to give you a weekly update as far as what is going on in Israel as well as the Middle East. Again, you want to make sure that you grab the PDF PowerPoint that accompanies this presentation, and you can get that at our website at holygroundexplorations.com, or it should be a link on this YouTube page. So what's going on? Well, last week, Hezbollah launched 19 rockets into the northern border area of Israel. No casualties, fatalities. The big issue is that Israel has not yet retaliated. And this is driving some people kind of crazy, wondering what's going on. The reality is simply this, is that the new government, the new change government of Naftali Bennett, knows that if there was a military confrontation, that the flimsiness of this coalition would collapse. House of cards. Because of the Arab Islamic Party that makes up this coalition. And so nothing's being done, which then, for those that know the Middle East, we realize that hands are sort of wringing because the Arabs respect power. And where there is a perceived lack of it, that vacuum will be filled. So we'll wait and see. This is our news bite section, so we just sort of hop all over the place. Concerning COVID here in the States, it's official now. Verbiage is important, but the mainstream media and the Biden administration have gone from suggesting that COVID vaccinations would, quote, not be mandated, to now saying they, quote, should be mandated. Big difference between the two. And if for some reason you've been asleep for the last year or so, you realize this is a major dividing issue in our nation today. And I don't see it getting any better. Do you? I see both sides entrenched. COVID, however, Israel, high alert Israel. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has elevated Israel to its highest threat tier, warning against travel to the country due to the latest surge in the virus. Once again, it wasn't that long ago that Israelis were waving the victory flag, and now it seems like they've, embarrassingly so, are back from where it all started. I would not be surprised with the upcoming fall festivals of Rosh Hashanah, the Days of Awe, as well as Yom Kippur, things being shut down once again. I think this is noteworthy that the CIA Director William Burns was in Israel, Jerusalem last week, meeting with the head of Mossad with discussions concerning Iran. The recent attack on the oil tanker, the rockets that were launched, and Hamas in general. So once again, will Israel go it alone? Is there something in the works? We're going to have to wait and see. I know. Every week we'll have to wait and see. I'm just trying to give you the latest. Our articles concerning Iran and Israel, the head of the defense, Benny Gantz, said that Iran is a mere 10 weeks away from acquiring enough enriched uranium to build a nuclear weapon. 10 weeks away. Prime Minister Naftali Bennett stated last week that the reason for the recent increase in the IDF's budget is to assist in preparing the military for an attack on Iran, as it would deem necessary. I mean, this is not cloak and dagger hidden stuff. This is in the news. We're preparing to attack Iran. Speaking to the Ynet news agency, Gantz responded in the affirmative when asked if Israel was prepared to attack. And he says, quote, "We're at a point where we need to take military action against Iran. The world needs to take action against Iran, and it needs to happen right now." Again, should I give you that tagline? Guess we're going to have to wait and see. But as I said last week, the cauldron is boiling. It's bubbling, and it's about to spill over. Well, Iran, new government, new president, right? New negotiator. Iran's new president presented his cabinet, no big surprise here, dominated by anti-Western groups and dominated by, and the lead negotiator, I don't think I can say his name, Amiradollah he's the chief negotiator for with the U.S. regarding this nuclear deal. Who is this guy? He was a former member of Ahmadinejad's cabinet. You remember the Holocaust denier who made no secrets that his job was to wipe Israel off the face of the map. And this top negotiator is wanted by Interpol for his alleged role in a bombing of a Jewish cultural center in Buenos Aires. He's linked with the Hezbollah in Lebanon and close ties, obviously, with the Iran's Revolutionary Guard Force. Great. There's an olive branch for you, right? I don't think we have to wait on this one. I got a feeling there will be no negotiations regarding this nuclear agreement. Pay for slay. This week marked the 20th year memorial. I don't think you used the word anniversary, since the attack on the Sbarro pizza restaurant in Jerusalem, where 15 people were murdered, 5 from one family, 8 children, 130 people were injured. And just so you know, this concept of pay for slay, the dude that was responsible for building the bomb, Abdullah Barghouti, something along those lines, has been receiving monthly stipends, and over the 20-year period, you know how much he's received? Close to $300,000 in prison because of the death, these suicide bombing deaths of 15 people, 8 children. Yeah. And this is money that the Palestinian Authority is doling out each month. That's why the U.S., and I hope we continue this stand, I hope we make it even stronger, has a problem with the so-called pay for slay. And contingencies of support range from the Taylor Force Act and things such as that, as saying you cannot use this support money for pay for slay. The problem is, who's going to monitor that? Well, COVID in Israel running rapid, as you probably know. Holy Ground has had to cancel another trip to Israel. It's been since a year and almost a half now since we've been in Israel. And we talked about this already, that there was this big, we've beaten it. Bottom line is Israel's coronavirus cabinet has recently approved new measures curbing the rising number of cases in Israel with COVID. At a meeting on Wednesday, it was decided that the so-called Green Pass will now be applicable for all indoor public spaces except for malls and places of commerce, which means from August 18th, people who have not been vaccinated will need to present a negative COVID test before they can enter a restaurant, hotel, swimming pools, gyms, schools, sporting cultural events, libraries. The Green Pass now has been extended to cover children aged 3 and up. And so once again, no end in sight. Where does the line get drawn? What's next? And truly, this is another one of those we're just gonna have to wait and see. There's one last slide here of Auschwitz. Take a look at it. It's just meant for you to pause and reflect. The statement is simply, the path to Auschwitz was paved with indifference. In this day, the people of God need to rise up. Not a time for us to keep our mouths shut. We must rise up. We must proclaim truth. And truth is found where? It is found in the Word of God. Be diligent. Be devoted to the teachings. Be devoted to prayer. Be devoted to the fellowship. God's in control. And so because of that, he never said, I'll remove you from all of this. I'll take all of that away. No, he simply said, even if you walk through the valley of shadows, the shadows of death, you will fear no evil. Why? His promised presence. Thou art with us. That's it for this week. God bless you. Shalom.